Why do we always get the shit stick, Dan? Fuck, man. You're the most broken fucking character. Fuck this game.
Maybe you're just a fucking scrub.
Look, that was me at my lowest point. I'm not proud of it, but we've all been there. You're playing a game and you start to feel like you're losing control. Maybe it kicks off because of a mistake a teammate makes.
Oh no, Summit!
Or maybe it's something someone says to you.
You stop it! Sit down!
Or maybe the game is just trash, because you know, it's impossible that you're the problem, right?
I'm literally stuck again! I can't move it!
But it doesn't matter. You're free falling towards rage, and you're probably going to lose. There's simply no hope for you. Or is there? I'm Miles Hackett, a recovering rageaholic. And today, with the help of two highly qualified professionals, I'm going to show you how to just say no to tilt. Tilt is the scourge of competitors everywhere, and it affects everyone. From the hopeless bottom dwellers of bronze tier, all the way up to the apex predators of the esports world, no one is immune to frustration. Most people think that tilt originates in poker, but it can be traced even further back to pinball. Prior to 1947, the earliest pinball machines didn't have flippers, so players had to physically tilt them in order to direct the ball. But over time, with the obsession of setting a new high score, people took tilting too far, and it took a toll on the machines. To extend their lifespans, manufacturers introduced flippers and then eventually slam tilt switch mechanisms that would end the game if players got a little too carried away. As pinheads moved away from tilting to nudging techniques, tilt became slang for playing poorly or becoming so angry that you trigger the machine's game-ending mechanism. Eventually, tilt made its way from the seedy bars and arcades of the 70s to high-stakes poker tables, where it took on the meaning we associate it with today. In poker, tilt describes somebody who's become emotionally affected by losing money, which typically leads to extremely aggressive play and ends in spectacular bouts of rage.
What in the hell is going on here? With these mother hands like they're nothing.
Well, at least she's handling it with some grace.
She'll take home over $91,000 for her third place.
You know what, y'all?
Bet all in. 19 versus 9. No! Fucking shit! Fucking shit!
According to cognitive psychologist, poker tilt expert, and legend-ranked Hearthstone player Dr. Jussi Palomäki, tilt in poker always starts with a significant monetary loss.
It makes you want to enter the pot more often because you feel that the quicker you get back what you believe was yours, the better it will be for you. You have the urge to get back what you believe is yours in the name of justice. And that means you need to enter more pots, you need to play more aggressively.
While it's difficult to pinpoint exactly when tilt made its way from poker to gaming, if you consider the shared competitive nature of the two, it's not hard to see how it happened. And with the rise in popularity of online ranked matchmaking systems in the early 2000s, a currency has emerged that has become more important to gamers than money. MMR.
I lost 150 points of ELO. I took all of the team's ELO loss and put it on my shoulders.
Think about it. What do you do when you see that number drop? That's right, you get back in the fucking queue.
Fuck yeah!
This primal drive to reclaim what we feel has been wrongly taken from us can be tied back to our earliest evolutionary instinct. When your caveman ancestors had something taken away from them, their natural reaction was to rage and get it back. Otherwise, they wouldn't survive. Palomäki believes that when you're in full control of a situation, you shouldn't necessarily tilt, but losing when you feel like you shouldn't, that can be what pushes you over the edge.
This is going to be very difficult. He doesn't have like any time to work with. The bomb pass can take 5 seconds alone. He's going to go for it behind the fountain. Kerrigan just going to charge him down. He's going to miss quite a few pistol shots. Kenny S, he picks up the kill. Kerrigan should not have, but then he gets the second. Kenny S clutches the round.
In most competitive games, tilt can be the greatest barrier separating you from success. And just as there are different causes for tilt, There are varying degrees of it as well. Most of us start off at the standard 90 degrees. That's when you're not tilted at all. Next is 45 degrees, also known as the acute tilt. This is pretty much the point where you've started to become destabilized. That's followed then by the obtuse tilt, a state involving acts like yelling at your teammates, getting physical,
Ooh, that's a big slam,
and generally playing far below your usual ability. And finally, we have the 180, the full tilt, also known as pure rage.
Oh my god. Chicken coop, chicken coop.
You should be aware that there's an AWP still up. Oh, wow. Crimson.
Chicken coop! Chicken fucking coop!
It says the dude can't hit a shot.
No, what am I doing? Linden! Alcoholic!
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
As crazy as some of these examples might look, just remember that tilting is normal and everyone experiences it. Even Palomäki admits to being a recovering tilter.
Poker back in 2009, my worst tilting experience was probably something like taking a pillow, yelling into that as hard as I can, and ending up with actually a headache that lasted for a couple of days, and I was like fearing, did I give myself a stroke or something? And that was like, okay, I need to reevaluate my position here.
But as damning as going full tilt usually is, you can recover from it. It's actually possible to tilt so hard that you can return to a pure zen, untilted state. Look no further than the Grand Final series of the 2018 Styx Invitational, where evil geniuses were up 2-0 and Penta appeared to be free-falling to failure.
One goes down. Pengu doesn't look, sees the mute. Necrox and Canadian. It's 5-2 for EG. And Necrox still uncontested. EG, one map away from the championship.
I'm like tilted quiet. Fabian's standing there screaming like, what the fuck are we doing? We're so terrible, we can do better. Do you guys want to fucking lose? I don't want to fucking lose. We're going to go out there and win now, right? But it kind of brought out everybody's frustrations. We kind of yelled at each other. We got everything out like, you did this, you did that. I fuck that. I hate you, whichever. And then he said the whole first like, I don't want to lose, do you? And I think it just clicked like, no, we don't want to lose, right? We're here to win.
As unrecoverable as their collapse appeared to be, Penta sent EG on a full tilt of their own, pulling off the reverse sweep.
It's Pengu and Fabian left. Two of the best known players on that team. Their captain sufficient, Fragger, Fabian down, it's Pengu, the Ash just waiting, or rather the Hibana just waiting. They'll look to push together. The diffuser in a position where they'll have to see when the Hibana goes through. One will cover the doorway. As they start to defuse, Pengu goes for one on the Young. Can he go the second? They're often known as the best team in the world, never having that distinction until today. Penta are your world champions.
Failure is an unavoidable obstacle in life and esports. You simply cannot be perfect. You'll never win every 1v1, and you will make mistakes. But learning to deal with the tilt these setbacks can bring is often the difference between achieving glorious victory and suffering crushing defeat. And today, with prestigious titles and massive prize pools on the line, many esports organizations have brought in team psychologists. Perhaps the most obvious benefactors of this progressive approach are CSGO's Astralis, a team that prior to 2017 had become known for tripping over the last hurdle.
We and I especially had a choking problem. You can't just keep on saying that it's unlucky because it's happened so many times.
After falling short of their own expectations at the Boston Major in 2018, Astralis added Lars Robl to their support staff in order to help strengthen the team's mentality. And let's be honest, who would know how to do that better than someone with 20 years experience in the Danish Special Forces?
And then sometimes people ask me, oh, okay, I mean, what's the difference between Counter-Strike and real work? It's, I mean, triple, much faster in Counter-Strike than it is in real work. So these split decisions that you have to make, this is the amount of the decisions, the time you have to for the decisions are very different.
With the amount of split-second choices and teamwork that CSGO demands, momentum in a match can swing from one round to the next. And how you respond to these feelings in-game is key to determining your results.
It's not the uncertainty. It's not the frustration that is the problem. It's what the frustration makes you do or doesn't make you do. That is the problem. So you gotta accept it, that it's there. So when you get this feeling of, now I'm losing control, now I get the feeling of tilting. The first thing you have to do, the first step, it's all about technique. It's to register that you are going away from your game plan.
And since Lars and the Astralis support staff implemented tilt management training for the players, the team's overall performances and successes have been nothing short of staggering.
I mean, the first time I met Astralis and we started this journey, we went on a boot camp without computers, and we were sitting on an old warship. And then we started defining the dream. What is the dream? What is it we want to achieve? And then we broke the dream into very specific, very operational targets that we control ourselves. We decide how much effort we want to put into this focal area. And that gives you the feeling of you are in control.
To ensure this sense of stability and control, Astralis has developed a 3-step program for managing in-game tilt. First, you need to register the feeling of being tilted and accept it. The second step is then releasing it by recognizing that you're deviating from your intended game plan. And finally, refocusing, getting back into what Lars calls the here and now.
What I have seen is that they are much more present. The bad experiences, the bad history that they have, I mean, that's been removed. Also, this being able to have the courage to make decisions on the edge.
When Zippix disappears, it's clear he's up to no good. They know he's on B, but where? His own gun, I think, blocked the vision, and now Zippix knows that they're working in one above. Oh, he's the lamb, and ends the slaughter, because it's Zippix that's gonna hold it off!
And that work has clearly paid dividends, as Astralis have now fully rebranded themselves from being CSGO's notorious choke artist to the greatest team to ever play the game. So the next time you feel the same familiar tug of tilt pulling you down, remember to register it, release it, and then refocus. If it worked for Counter-Strike's Danish conquerors, I'm sure it can work for you too. I mean, it worked for me. I'm certifiably untiltable these days.
Screw up.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
No, doesn't bother me at all. With the amount of split-second It's like, it sounds like your bones are made of pretzels.
Yeah. It's a little manufactured, that's why I'm so salty.
Salty.
That's a great way to explain
Sean Wetselaar? I know, it's like everyone that makes Miles jokes. Oh, it's kilometers in Canada. It's like, fuck you. Yeah. God damn it, Matt.